like you said, put up or shut up, do it or don't, die or live.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much the way it was for you and me, straight out of the point. And there's probably people out there listening or know somebody who's listening knows somebody with that same problem. That it is capable. You just have to help them help themselves, and then once you offer that to them, they want to have to help themselves too.
And
relationships can be mended.
If for people that are listening now thinking, well, I just got out of my first rehab and somebody told me to listen to this podcast. I don't get it. I don't understand what these guys are talking about. That's fine. You will. You will know exactly what we're talking about. And please trust us. You don't have to go that far. You don't have to put your family through the hell that Chris and I put our families through. You don't have to. And
no.
Again, if I would have heard this podcast coming out of my first rehab, I don't know if I would have even stuck around. I would have been like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. This still doesn't apply to me.
Right. But we had to learn. They're going to have to learn. But if what they hear on this podcast puts a seed in their brain till they remember it after their next relapse or their next overdose or their next trip to the hospital, they remember, maybe they'll say something with those two guys, those two clowns. Well, sorry, bad term. That's another show. These two guys. What? No, it's just kidding. Just kidding. It's all jokes. But no, we plant a seed. As long as we plant a seed, they have to, in the meeting at the house, bear the fruit. I do believe there was a reading, bear fruit. You got to take care of the seedling. You got to water it, put nutrients on it, shower, bathe, feed it with good, positive things, and you will eventually grow. You will eventually bear fruit, and other people can, and I'm putting this spin on there. People can eat that fruit. No pun intended. Whatever they can see it. They want it. They want it. Oh man, I think they know what I'm saying. Sometimes I get all twisted up and with what I say, but a lot of time it's just because I'm excited about doing the show. Telling my friend Ashley, I do a podcast, and doing this podcast has been another tool in my tool chest, because I always used to make I got 6 or 7 tool chests, man. They're all covered in dust and they're rusted to open them. I can't get into them. Why do I want to use them? Well, today I'm getting into that tool chest, and I'm reaching and I'm grabbing a big, a wrench, and I'm, trying to fix this mess so that you guys can see that this, this old truck, this old beat up truck is getting a little better. And if you want to fix yourself, you got to do that.
Oof.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't know where it comes from. I don't know. But like you said, man, the things we put our parents through, the things that they get it. It's a learning curve for both parties.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, how lucky I am. Not everybody has the parents that we have or the situations that we have, and it doesn't mean it can't be done. It doesn't mean that you can't still find happiness and you still can't make somebody proud, because somebody out there thinks you're important. It could be your kid, it could be your cousin, it could be your wife, your boyfriend, whatever. There's somebody out there that thinks that you are the cat's meow. And
ooh,
what's up, cats? Kittens, how you doing?
Oh God.
Sorry, I had to. But there's somebody out there that thinks you're important. So just, stick with it, and those people will come out. And you know what? You should think you're important. And the one thing that the podcast, like you kind of mentioned, Chris, is a tool chest for you. And I don't know if I could have done it without the podcast, just for the fact that it gives me something to do. It's like a meeting, and we do it 4 times a week. The T days and the S days, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So it gives me something to do 4 days a week, and I do it at the end of the day, in the night. So even if I wanted to drink, I can't, because I got to do a podcast. And it's a commitment that I've made. And, I never drank before I went on the air after I was like 22. But once I was like, okay, this is something I don't want to lose, I chose that over drinking. So that's what made me kind of, want to do the podcast. And of course, people tell me you should do a podcast. I'm like, on what? What am I supposed to do a podcast on? And a person told me that, hey, you should do one, on recovery. And, that's how that all came about. And I thought, yeah, like that's the one thing that I had that I knew trumped alcohol. I knew that it gave me more satisfaction, more feeling of importance, more feeling of accomplishment than any kind of alcohol could or would ever do. So I put that above the alcohol and just kind of ran with it. And I didn't really care what people thought. And that brings me to the next point that you had brought up, which I was going to bring up tonight anyway, is the fact that we have fun in recovery and we do cover recovery our own way. And people sometimes will not get us. They don't like the podcast. That's fine. It's beautiful. We're not chaining you down to a chair and making you listen. You don't have to listen. That's the beauty of a podcast. You listen to local radio and you're stuck in a factory all day. I'm sorry, because the local radio here sucks. My opinion. Some people could love it though, and that's their opinion. They can be trapped there and listen. But we're not trapping anybody to listen. And we're just trying to have fun, and we're talking about our days in recovery. If I say something bad about an experience I had with certain training or whatever, that's my experience. That's what I had. And for that person to lash out and say, well, they need to, take recovery serious, and not everything's fun and funny and well, you know what? That's your recovery. And if you got 6 years, 5 years, hey, good for you. Go keep getting them, and you can go listen to the guy that's all dead serious, and maybe that helps you. Good for you. But I don't understand why someone would sit there and try to bash people that are doing good. And we are helping people, Chris. And I get it all the time. So do you, from people that listen. And there's 18 more people that listen that we don't even know are listening, Chris. We might even have 20 listeners now, bro.
What?
Just kidding. We have more. But still, it doesn't matter how many people, if that one email or that one text message or that whatever conversation at an AA meeting happens and it can spur something, or just you can help people in so many different ways, that just by talking about your mom tonight, Chris, or us talking about this in our recovery, and that's our fun. It's what we do. I don't tell people
go ahead.
How to play basketball.
No, because that's one thing. I'm not good at basketball. I don't know if you are.
No.
Okay.
You knew I wasn't good at basketball.
What we're training at every day, what we're training at is, you could say, the basketball game of life, if you want to use that. Like, I don't use basketball, but I use kind of like you said, with the podcast. It's the T's and S's. This is a commitment we've made for this show to help us to reach out and potentially help other people. Mm-hmm. And it's a commitment that we made to ourselves. And, if you slack off on your commitments, if you watch a little bit of a certain, show or on a certain, app, then, and you get a certain lashing, or your name comes off of the intro, you're slacking. You're slacking a little bit. But it's, and the other evening when I did it on the phone, I realized it wasn't that hard. You just pick up the phone and you do what you do. Corey's just not sitting in front of you. That's all it is. But I hear the laugh. I hear I hear what I used to see across from me in the studio, and it keeps me going. Got to see you the other day, and I had some pizza and got to get some. It's the good things in life. Like I say a lot, cool. Like the fun stuff's cool. Today, things work well today. It may not be the best day, but you get on a podcast and you shoot the shit with your co-host or your host and your friend, and you do what you're supposed to do to help us, and maybe we'll help somebody else with our 22 listeners now, maybe.
Oh yes, they're growing by the minute.
Right. And I will say too is that my friend that was in the picture that you said doesn't listen to the show, listen to the show. Yeah, listen to the show still. Samantha listens to the show still.
But does she, or does she just listen to that one?
Well, she said she was behind a few, but regardless, she still listens. She still supports. Didn't she get a coin because she was the podcast #1 fan? I don't know.
Yeah, it was so long ago.
Oh,
We're about living in the moment, Chris, and Samantha, you need to start living in the moment too. And she said, yeah, are you guys, what's up with the podcast tonight? She sent me a message and I was like, well, we're about to get to it. And she's like, good. Because I love listening to it at work because I'm so bored. I'm like, okay, great. Like, I'm glad that you turn to us when you're so bored, not just because you want to listen to us. But yeah, thanks, Samantha. Appreciate it.
Right. Thank you, Samantha. Did you eat broccoli today?
What kind of question is that, Christopher? No, I didn't eat
broccoli
today.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. Good. Did you learn your lesson?
No. Well, yes. And the funny thing is, the funny thing about this, Chris, is she told me that everybody was reaching out to her, asking her if she was sick too. And she's like, no, I'm not sick. And then she explained to me that she did not eat the broccoli yesterday. I was like, I thought she did. She said, no, she didn't. But she had some today. And she thought I was lying. And she was like, that's not what got you sick. Who knows what it was? I'm like, no, honey. I was like, remember after I ate the broccoli, I said that my body was acting weird because it didn't know what to do with the nutrients because it wasn't ice cream or chocolate that I was eating. So my body was like shutting down. Like, what is this? What's this? What do we do with these nutrients? You know, let's kick these heifers out.
What are we supposed to do with the good thing?
Yeah, what is this? Got to stop it. Get it out. So... But then she's like, well, wouldn't you just like set it on the counter? I'm like, no, honey, it was at the store. Somebody with all the, which don't get me going on this. I think we're wiping way too much stuff down. And I think if somebody decides they're going to 19 it up right there in the produce section, well, they're going to wipe off their phone and there's feces on the phone because I learned that from the chick on Facebook that they're wiping the feces onto the broccoli. I buy the broccoli. And here's where I went wrong, Chris. I didn't wash the broccoli, which I clearly said the other day I did not. And she looked at me and she's like, honey, the counter is like a foot wide and all there is the sink. She's like, how lazy do you have to be? Like, Chris, seriously, like if I would have just leaned over, it could have hit the water from the faucet. I mean, but I was that lazy where I thought, you know what? I'm gonna take a test drive on this one and I'm gonna see if my immune. I don't know what I was thinking, Chris. And Marnie has to. You ever done that before? Don't you usually wash it? I'm like, every time. But she's like, but yesterday you just chose not to. Yeah, I guess. You know, she's like, it's right there. It's like right there. Seriously, you don't even have to. You could just do midget arm. You don't even have to extend your arm. You just, little T-Rex it. And I could have turned the faucet on and rinsed the broccoli at least and got the feces off it. But that's not. I enjoyed some feces. Got sick. That's what happened. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Hi, babe. How you doing?
Hey.
Hey, how's it going? Oh, sorry, I didn't call you babe. I was talking to Gary, and she's in Alaska here with me, and she stepped out into the garage. Yeah.
Don't tell her I said hi.
Okay, Corey didn't say hi.
No. I don't want her to feel important.
See, she just got confused. She got upset. So, yeah.
Okay, now tell her I said hi.
Corey says hi now. She said hi, Corey. I don't know if you probably didn't hear it because her voice is so light and airy and sweet and everything that I'm not. Yeah. We're still on the broadcast, sweetie. It's okay. Yeah. She probably didn't want to hear. No, I'm not going to talk to her about feces. Although, never mind. Never mind. I'm not going to bring that up on the show.
Oh, you should tell her about what my mom thinks everybody does with stuff.
Oh, I think Corey's mom thinks everybody puts stuff in their butt. So you don't pick up coins off the ground. Certainly wash your broccoli and strawberries. Corey's mom's advice for the day. Oh, for Corey's whole life. Hi, Corey's mom. She's not there. I just said hi.
No, I don't think she's listening either.
Oh, I'm sure she's not. Not right now because we're doing this, because it gets posted after. Unfortunately, we did the one live one once, and sometimes people don't have the option to listen during that time, but if they want to listen to it, they listen to it later, and that's what they do, and that's how we get our listeners. Because they like it and they like what they have to hear, they can think they can help somebody.
Yeah.
Oh man,
share it, but So, man, what was I going to say? There was something else besides the broccoli. Now I got my broccoli brain back.